All right, moving on from one wide receiver getting traded to a potential other wide receiver getting traded, per Ian Rappaport. The Jets are taking calls on Devante Adams. He will have a cap number of 38.2 million, which is why they want to move on from him because, he was okay last year, but they're in a state of transition with the new coach and trying to figure out what they're going to do, and they don't necessarily want to be handicapped by a player who's aging and being paid so much. Obviously, they already told Aaron Rodgers they're moving on from him. So if they can't find a trade partner, they're going to release Devante Adams as well. And the rumor, of course, is that there's a feeling that he would just want to join whatever team Aaron Rodgers plays for next year, be that the Giants, which, plays in the same stadium. They wouldn't have to uproot their life. So I think that's an underrated part of things. Or, maybe the Raiders, they were in on Matthew Stafford. Now they're not. Of course, as we covered in an earlier segment, Matthew Stafford potentially was going to move on to either the Giants or the Raiders. He didn't. He's staying in Los Angeles. So now that opens up the Raiders or the Giants. And unfortunately for the Raiders, granted, new head coach and everything, Devante Adams seemed quite unhappy to be a part of that organization, despite it being his childhood favorite team. He, was caught on hot mic being like, I'm going to get killed out here. The way the quarterbacks are throwing probably wouldn't be the same with Aaron Rodgers. And I do believe that if Aaron Rodgers was like, we got to go to Las Vegas, we got to hook up with Tom Brady, who's the minority owner of the Raiders, that we can really make some noise, Devante Adams would probably be more open to it than you'd think on paper. But I do think that the Giants kind of make sense, right? They don't have a quarterback at all. They have Malik Nabers, who is the best rookie wide receiver last season, playing with a terrible quarterback room. So terrible that none of the quarterbacks are currently on the roster. So terrible that they don't even have any quarterbacks on the roster. You put Aaron Rodgers there and Devante Adams, all of a sudden, this Giants team that was very down, and of course, Brian Dable, who probably got the best out of Josh Allen is in his time with Buffalo. He knows how to run an offense. This could be a dark horse contending team. The more I think about it, the more I do like the potential of him either getting traded or being released and signing with the Giants. Giants have some capital, and I don't think it will take much to move on. It will just be having to take that salary. So the bigger thing will be, can the Jets convince anyone to sign him, or rather to trade for him, or are they just going to have to release him? And I think, that's probably more likely that they'll have to release him. But if the Giants want to ensure that they're the ones to get him, and maybe Aaron Rodgers has a say in that if he does sign with the Giants, then I do believe that Devante Adams and Aaron Rodgers will end up still in New York, but this time wearing blue. What do you think of that? What do you think of that prediction? Do you believe that it's possible that Aaron Rodgers and Devante Adams could leave the Jets and go to the Giants, not have to uproot their life, just stay in one place? And do you think if they did that, the Giants would be set up well to succeed? Or do you believe that Aaron Rodgers has become a person who it's impossible to succeed with? We all know how he's really become outspoken on certain topics the last few years and really makes it feel like it's his way or the highway. And that kind of led to the deconstruction of the Jets. Would Brian Daboll even be open to it? Is it even his choice? Or would, ownership of the Giants be like, this is your last chance, or you're going to get fired anyways? And would that open Daboll up to being more inclined to go with Rodgers and Adams? Very interesting situation. If there are other teams that could trade for Adams that I'm not thinking of, please let me know in the comments.